पंचतत्व की। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदारे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Yes, Prabhu. Okay. I welcome you all for this Bhagavad Gita session. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, verse number 23. Om Tat Sat Iti Nityesho Brahmanastrividha Smrata Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajñasya Vihita Pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Sat, Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmins while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Next one. Tasmad Vomi Om Iti Udhahartya Yajnadhana Tapakriyaha Pravrattante Vidanoktha Satatam Brahmavadinam. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the supreme. Verse 25. Tad iti anabhisandhya palam yajñatapakriya dhana kriyascha vivida kriyante mokshakamkshibihi. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami iti namne Namacharya Padaya Nitai Padayani Gauru Katada Dayana Guru Tamne Mukunda Roti Vacharam Pramom Nangayate Giru Yat Krupa Atam Hom De Sri Gurum Denatanam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harivom Tatsat. So we are discussing about Harivom Tatsat only today. Okay. So here it is Om Tatsat indicates its indication of the Supreme, that eternal indication. So from the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmans while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So I have a question. So why do we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra since that Om is non-different from Krishna? So, and even it is mentioned clearly, actually, the Om, okay, we will understand some background. Actually, the word Om is meant for Om Tat Sat, the absolute truth. Omkara is meant for freedom from all attachment to money, because money should be spent for the purpose of the Supreme. The tendency of modern civilization is to give money in charity to the poor. Such charity has no spiritual value, because we actually see that although there are so many hospitals and other foundations and institutions for the poor. According to the three modes of material nature, a class of poor men is always destined to continue. Even though there are so many charitable institutions, poverty has not been driven from human society. Therefore, it is recommended here Bhikshve sarvam om kurvan alam kamena chatmane. One should not give everything to the beggars among the poor. So in Satya Yuga, the only mantra was Omkar, like Om Tat Sat. The same name Omkara is manifest in the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Unless one is a Brahmana, one cannot utter Omkara and get the desired result. But in Kali Yuga, almost everyone is Shudra, unfit for pronouncing the pranava, Omkara. Therefore, the Shastras have recommended the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Omkara is a mantra or Maha Mantra. Okay? And Hare Krishna is also Maha Mantra. The purpose of pronouncing Omkara is to address the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So in Satya Yuga, we used to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Even we heard in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada mentions in 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj, he used to meditate on Lord by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, if I'm not wrong. Okay. And this mantra, still it is so powerful in Kali Yuga also, because um, when I was studying +1, +2, near about 25 years or 26 years ago, so we have a Sanskrit and Sanskrita. That Sanskrita teacher, lecturer, he used to make us to chant this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya every day and regular classes. During class beginning, so he used to give us the glories of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We have to chant 11 times. So then he used to tell us, okay, we used to ask what is the use of mantra. Then he used to tell us to remove fear of, like, while writing public exams, so kids like +1, +2, 14, 15-year boys, or we get scared. And he used to tell us, you just chant this mantra 11 times, you will, like, vanish all the fear. He used to train us. Then for that purpose, we used to then chant. Then 1 year exam finishes and +2, then he started giving explanation more. So even these mantras are worthwhile in Kali Yuga also, but the purpose is being manipulated or misused. So then at the same time, we should have a purity. And so out of all these mantras, the perfect mantra for Kali Yuga and this age is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why? Because Mahaprabhu has come and given this, he indicated clearly. So we'll understand in further why it is so powerful. And the see, Hare means O energy of the Lord. Rama means O Supreme Lord. Excuse me. O Supreme Enjoyer. So that a few days back, I mean, not this last Saturday and the previous before Saturday, So Gurmas was giving class in Bhagavatam class. He was telling that how many of you asked Krishna when you are standing in front of him, like now glorifying him, glorifying his lotus feet. Then after that, how many of you asking, please give me taste for your lotus feet and please engage me in your lotus feet. So that mood takes us closer to Krishna. So one who has that mood every day and daily basis, by chanting all these mantras, the main purpose is that to moving close to Krishna, and the moving close means to serve him. The purpose is being fulfilled by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the only worshipable Lord is Hari, who is the goal of the Vedas. Vedesya sarvair aham Veda Vedya. Bhagavad Gita mentions in 15th chapter, 15th verse. By worshipping the demigods, one worships the different parts of the Lord. Just as one might water the branches, and the same example repeating. So same Hare Krishna mantra, we're chanting every day. So at the time of death, definitely we will remember. So there is one devotee, Bengali devotee, recently in train accident, he left his body just a few days back, maybe 1 week ago. So devotees, senior devotees approached Guru Maharaj asking that, what is this boy's destination? Then Guru Maharaj asked them back, did this boy chanted Hare Krishna Maha Mantra while leaving body? So I did not get any reply till now. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, any state of mind, you just chant, you just remember. That's what Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. And you just, even whoever chants daily my name, at the time of death, if they don't remember, I personally come and make them to remember. So we may not chant louder or outside uh, because of situation and like when we are experiencing, if we are leaving body smoothly, consciousness, everything depending on consciousness. Okay, in that moment, we may chant louder or at least audible. So we Krishna is telling, I will make them to remember. So remember means he may remember, but he don't know. But here the Hare Krishna Mahamantra has such a potency, and even in Kali Yuga, excuse me, one can just remembering their life becomes successful. So by worshipping the demigods, one worships the different parts of the Lord. We just like that, the branches and twigs of a tree only. When we pour water on the roots of the tree. So, but worshipping Narayana, the all-inclusive Supreme Personality of Godhead is like pouring water on the root of the tree. The supplying water to the trunk, branches, twigs, leaves, and so on. In Satyuga, people knew how to fulfill the necessities of life simply by worshipping Narayana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the same purpose can be served in this age of Kali by chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra as recommended in the Bhagavatam. So similarly, the transcendental sound Om is further explained in the Bhagavad Gita, and this verse 70, chapter 23. Om Tat Sat Iti Nityesho Brahmanas Trividas Smarta Smart. Here, Smrataha means Brahmans. And here two meanings are there. Brahmanas, and Trividas Smrta Brahmans. Again, Brahmanasena Vedasa Chayajnascha Vihita Pura. From the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth, Brahman. So they were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So the Omkara or the Pranava is the seed of transcendental realization. And it is composed of the three transcendental letters Om, A-U-M, Om, Om. Okay. By its chanting by the mind in conjunction with the breathing process, which is transcendental but mechanical way of getting into trance. As devised by the experience of great mistakes, one is able to bring the mind, which is materially absorbed under control. This is the way of changing the habit of the mind. The mind is not be killed. Mind or desire cannot be stopped, but to develop a desire to function for spiritual realization, the quality of engagement by the mind has to be changed. The mind is the pivot of the active sense organs and is as such if the quality of thinking, feeling and willing is changed, naturally the quality of actions by the instrumental senses will also change. Here, the Omkara is the seed of all transcendental sound, and it is only the transcendental sound which can bring about the desired change of the mind and the senses. Even mentally deranged man can be cured by treatment of transcendental sound. That's what so and here that's what it has been explained that penance, sacrifice, charity, and food are divided into three categories. The mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But whether first class, second class, or third class, they are all conditioned, contaminated by the material modes of nature. When they are aimed at the Supreme, Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you. In these scriptural injunctions, such an objective is indicated these three words, Om Tat Sat, particularly indicate the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. In the Vedic hymns, the word Om is always found. So, see, actually, to understand any particular verse, we must read synonyms. Okay, first we try to understand the synonyms, then go through the translation, then you will understand the essence of the each and every verse. So this way, if one studies, there is no doubt we will have some confusion. Okay. So here we understand Om Tat Sat meaning. What it is mentioned, Om means indication of the Supreme. Tat, that, Sat, eternal. That eternal Supreme Lord. Om Tat Sat means. So in Prabhupada is mentioning Om is always found in the Vedic hymns. One who acts without following the regulations of the scriptural will not attain the absolute truth. Excuse me. He will get some temporary result, but not the ultimate end of life. The conclusion is that Prabhupada is saying that the performance of charity, sacrifice, and penance must be done in the mode of goodness. Performed in the mode of passion or ignorance, they are certainly inferior in quality. The three words Om Tat Sat are uttered in conjunction, I'm repeating again, with the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Example, Om Tad Vishnum Paramam Padam, Om Tad Vishnum, Tad Vishnu. Whenever a Vedic hymn or the holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. This is the indication of the Vedic literature. Om Tat Vishnum Paramam Padam. So, Om indicated Om means the Supreme Lord, Paramam Padam. He is the absolute. Okay? We have to, it's very, actually, often people uses in material world Om for every mantra. And one second, I'll tell you clearly. So it's actually Omkara, this indicates is or Pranava is a direct representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if at the time of death one simply remembers Omkara, he remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is therefore immediately transferred to the spiritual world. Omkara is the basic principle of all Vedic mantras. But in Kali Yuga, I'm not undermining any um, like incarnations of the god or um, demigods, but actually we are being brainwashed by different Mayavadis and uneducated philanthropists. They say that like womb sometimes womb indicates Shiva. So is we should not undermine the personality of the Shiva, but here it clearly says in Vedas, Om indicates the supreme personality of God. Okay, so why I'm saying while leaving the body, one should not be in a confusion that Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, I remember two. Om means Krishna and Namah Shivaya Krishna. I mean Shiva. So I remember two gods. If I don't go Supreme Personality of God at the spiritual world, Goloka or Vrindavan, then I may go to Shiva. You understood? It's a mixed of understanding makes us become victim of the our own mistake. So that we have to know the proper meaning of Om. So then automatically the purpose is being fulfilled. So, okay, Mayavada philosophers cannot understand. That's what these simple facts explained in the Bhagavad Gita. And yet, They are very proud of being Vedantis. Sometimes, therefore, we refer to the Vedanti philosophers as Vedantis. Those who have teeth, V means without, and Danti means possessing teeth. Vedanti, Danti, Danta, like no, V means without. So possessing teeth, the statement of the Shankara philosophy, which are the teeth of the Mayavadi philosopher, were always broken by the strong arguments of Vaishnava philosophers, such as the great acharyas, especially Ramanujacharya, Sripad Ramanujacharya, and Madhvacharya, and Prabhupada, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, like Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya, so many. If you go through it, number of stalwarts, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyamoksha, and topmost Nimai Pandit is also is a Pandit. So Mayavada and Madhvacharya break the teeth of the Mayavada philosophers, who can therefore be called Vedantis, toothless. Here it says that Prabhupada writes, Vedantis means toothless people and truthless. The transcendental vibration, Omkara, is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So, chapter 8, also, verse 13. Om iti ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran ya prayati tasyan deham sayati paramam gatim. After being situated in the yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and fits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. If one actually understands that Omkara is the sound representation of the supreme personality of Godhead, whether he chants Omkara or the Hare Krishna mantra, the result is certainly the same. The transcendental vibration of Omkara is further explained in the Bhagavad Gita again, like 9 verse, chapter 9, verse 17, like Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram Omkara riksamaya juri vacha. And like that, Om Tat Sat iti Nidhesho Brahmanastri Vidasmrtha Brahmanaste Naivedasam Yajna Savihita Pura Nam Namakari Bahuda Nisha Sarva Shakti Tatra Pita Nimita Smarane Kala. So, throughout all the Vedic scriptures, the glories of Omkara are specifically mentioned. Jiva Goswami says that in mentions in his Bhagavad Sandarbha, Vedic literature, Omkara is considered to be the sound vibration of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only this vibration of transcendental sound can deliver a conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. Sometimes Omkar is also called the deliverer. Tatra. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the Omkara vibration. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Therefore, Omkara has been described by the great commentator Sridhar Swami mentions. Tara. Okay, Tarang, the seed of deliverance from the material world. Since the Supreme Godhead is absolute, His holy name and His sound vibration, Omkara, as good as he himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the holy name or Omkara, a transcendental representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has all the potencies of the personality of Godhead. And all potencies are invested in the holy vibration of the holy name of the Lord. There is no doubt that the holy name of the Lord or Omkara is the supreme personality of Godhead Himself. In other words, anyone who chants Omkara and the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, immediately meets the supreme personality, personality of Godhead, Lord, immediately and directly. When he personally appears, like before chanter who engages in chanting the Omkara, Ashtakshara or 8 syllables. It says that mantra. Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A similar statement in the Mandokya Upanishad declares that whether one sees in the spiritual world is all an expansion of the scriptural potency of Omkara. Omkara is the supreme absolute truth and is accepted as such by all the way acharyas and authorities. Omkara is, let me say, beginningless, changeless, supreme and free from deterioration and external contamination. Omkara is the origin, middle, and end of everything. And any living entity who thus understands Omkara attains the perfection of spiritual identity in Omkara. Omkara being situated in everyone's heart, the perfection of spiritual identity is Ishvara, in the form of Omkara. Everyone is Ishvara, like Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, you can say 18th chapter 61, it says that Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridideshu Arjuna Tisthati. Omkara is as good as Vishnu because Omkara is all pervasive as Vishnu. So that's what. And the three words Om Tat Sat are uttered in conjunction with the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Example, Om Tat Vishnu, just like we discussed. Whenever a Vedic hymn, the holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. This is the indication of the Vedic literature. These three words are taken from Vedic hymns. Om iti etat brahmano nedistakam. Nedistam nam indicates the first goal. Then Tat Tvam Asi is mentioned from Chandogya Upanishad, indicates the second goal. And Sat Eva Saumya indicates the third goal. Combined, they become Om Tat Sat. Formerly, when Brahma, the first created living entity, performed sacrifices indicated by these three words, the Om, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the same principle has been followed by disciplic succession. So, this hymn has great significance. Bhagavad Gita recommends, therefore, that any work done should be done for Om Tat Sat or for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one performs penance, charity, and sacrifice, with these three words, he is acting in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities which enables one to return home back to God. There is no loss of energy in acting in such transcendental way. Okay, I'll tell here. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the three types of austerity: sacrifice, charity, foods, and faith have been described generally for all human beings. However, among the Sattvic people, there are also the seekers of Brahman. So the three words Om Tat Sat indicate Brahman have been revealed by the sages. The Smrataha means sages. Among those words, Om is well known in all the Shrutis as the name of Brahman. The word Tat is well known to designate the cause of the universe. It is also known to signify the obligator of what is not Tat, the material world. Sat is defined in the Shrutis as the that which exists before everything else, eternal. That's what, like, uh, before this material world exists, already that eternal world is existed. Sadyeva Saumyam Agre Asit. Since the Brahmans, sacrifices, and the Vedas were created, Vihitaha, as in the ancient times of Brahman itself, Thena, the form of these three sounds, Om Tatsat, the sacrifices, austerities, charity, and other works of the present seekers of the Brahman are stated uttering by Om. Here, the name of Brahman, like Udaharatya, that's what. And next verse he says, Taditena, not of 25, uttering that persons aspiring for liberation performed sacrifice, austerity, and charity without seeking results. So, how many of us, sacrificing the, performing these sacrifices doing by a gas, and how much austerity, like, are we doing austerity like mm, any sages and previously like Mother Yashoda and Vasudev did like that? By such kind of austerities, one does, then definitely they'll have such a high level position. So, but in Kali Yuga, we are contaminated, so much sufferings. So, okay, some of you may have like, so achieved already bhava, prema. I cannot say that I have achieved because I know what I am. So uttering that word, tad iti, udahatya, being understood from, I mean, we remember previous words like 24 we were discussing, and they perform activities such as charity, anabhisandhyaya, means without seeking results. Okay, so I have like I wrote meanings for that, so that's from there I'm seeing and telling you because tasmat iti udhatya. That's what it's saying that transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the supreme. So one should understand that that's what in Bhagavad Gita we understood that the Pranava mantra is Omkara has been accepted as the direct literal representation of the supreme absolute truth. One who is not able to chant directly the holy name of the Lord, as recommended above, can easily chant like Pranava Omkara. This Omkara is no note of address, such as, Oh my Lord, just as Om Hari O means, Oh my Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we have explained before, the Lord's holy name is identical with the Lord Himself. So also is Omkara. But persons who are unable to realize the transcendental personal form or name of the Lord on account of their imperfect senses. In other words, the neophytes are trained to the practice of self-realization by this mechanical process of regulating the breathing function and simultaneously repeating the pranava omkara within the mind. As we have several times expressed, so and I mean to indicate, I told that earlier now in this class, by leaving the body, one who remembers whatever they remembers, so they will achieve that destination. So if our goal is to go back to Godhead, if we remember something by using Om, that is a mixed result. You just chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That is also fine. And just by thinking Krishna, leaving body, that's also fine. And by remembering spiritual master, leaving the body is also fine. But we need such a practice to remember a living body. Without practice, we cannot become perfect. That's what their proverb says, right? Practice makes man perfect. Okay, woman also. So the perfection comes through practice. The practice we have to implement in our daily life. Without doing that, we will not achieve the perfection. So we chant daily Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then at least sometimes anything happen. Like we are cooking in the kitchen. Sometimes we touch fire or we touch hot bowl. We say Krishna. Like also that come we become habituated by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. At least we are remembering Krishna. So, but to achieve the real perfection, and when we are going back to Godhead, if that is our destination, we should understand that after going there, what is the purpose of going there? We have to serve the Lord. So that serving attitude we have to develop now. Being in this material world, we practice, we develop, we choose some services which we can perform to Krishna directly in the Goloka. So that we should practice now. In order to practice, if we want to perform directly, that means we have to practice. So the practice, while practicing, only by doing this doesn't make us become perfection. We have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's what, as we have several times expressed. Since the transcendental name, form, attributes, pastimes, etc. of the personality of Godhead are impossible to understand with the present material senses, it is necessary that through the mind, the center of sensual activities, such transcendental realization be set into motion. The devotees directly fix their minds on the person of the absolute truth. But one who is unable to accommodate such personal features of the absolute is disciplined in impersonality to train the mind to make further progress. Prabhupada, okay, Prabhupada mentions in, I think I have already discussed this. Yeah, okay. He wrote a letter to his disciple. So he says that Rupanga. Yeah. Oh, okay. This I was reading yesterday. So in he says that Omkara is the alphabetical representation of Krishna. This representation of Krishna is impersonal, just like his luster of the body. Brahman effulgence. Impersonalists like to chant Omkara, but we wish to chant his future of past tense because his personal future is the ultimate understanding. Omkara is the symbol of eternity, but there is no bliss and knowledge. Om Tat Sat. That Sat means the absolute truth, and Sat means eternal. Omkara is also used denoting address. Om Tat Sat means, oh, the absolute truth is eternal. Hope it is clear, the conclusion words. Because, and why we have to chant Hare Krishna mantra than Omkara. Okay, I will give you two more. One more example. Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adila. He says that if one develops love for Krishna by Krishna conscious activities, one can know the supreme absolute truth. But he who tries to understand God simply by logical arguments will not succeed, nor will he get a taste for unalloyed devotion. The secret is that one must submissively listen to those who know perfectly the science of God. But who knows science of God? The Acharyas and Guru, Sadhu Shastra. We must take these three pramanas. We follow, then our life becomes successful. There is no doubt. And one must begin the mode of service regulated by the preceptor. Okay. And I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpaturubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Any comments? I'm done.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna to everybody assembled. Hare Krishna. Are you
Sumandra Mataji, I have
Yes.
requested Guru Maharaj for prayers. He said, and he did not ask anything. He said, I'm praying. So
Thank you, Prabhu.
then, yeah, but I have already informed our Prabhu also.
Yeah,
that
Prabhuji.
Actually, President Guru Maharaj, like, he's feeling so
health is not,
tired.
I understand, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, sorry, you're about to say something.
No, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Pranam Prabhu.
No.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Sridhar Prabhu, why we do have very less people in English session? Sorry
Hare
to
Krishna,
say.
no idea. Devotees need to turn up.
Okay, anyway, now we have two batches are there, so then like new batch, whoever is like free, like interested, those after finishing 18 days course, we can like merge those people into this group.
Sure, Prabhu. We will ask them to.
Because since we are continuing this batch regular.
Yes, Prabhu. Sure. I will send them the messages to come to this group.
After attending like session. Okay, whatever your comfort and all.
Yes.
Okay.
Prabhu.
So anything,
Sure.
Prabhu, for me?
No, that's it, Prabhu. Thank you for that comprehensive class on Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.